Let's explore how often we should meditate for best results. This evening's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit. The question begins, how often do you meditate? I recently got back into it and would love to meditate at least 3 times a day, but it feels a little excessive. Just looking for some opinions. Let us start with broad brushstrokes. In the Tibetan tradition, it is common for would-be lamas to participate in at least one 3-year retreat, during which they would practice at least 4 times a day. When people ask me how to become a lama, I recommend that the first step is just mastering what the Buddha taught. At that point, once you have mastered the teachings, then you want to be able to really make sure that you help others. So for someone who's full-time preparing to become a lama, I'd recommend spending at least 4 hours a day of formal meditation and 4 hours a day of formal study, usually in 1-hour increments of each, and then breaking it up because you don't want, you don't want to bake your brain. But here's the good news. You don't need to do a 3-year retreat. Most of us don't have that opportunity, and that's not a problem. Did you know that if you have a sound technique and you really understand it, then practicing once every 12 hours is enough? Practicing for let's jump ahead if you don't mind. Practicing as little as 5 minutes every 12 hours can give you exceptional results if your technique is sound. Now, if you get ambitious and you want to increase that, after 1 week you want to increase that to 10 minutes, you could. On the 3rd week, if you want to increase that to 15 minutes, you could. On the 4th week, if you want to increase that to 20 minutes, you could. At the end of the 12th week, you could, by the 12th week, if you wanted to, you could increase that to 60 minutes. But the point is, if your technique is sound, every 12 hours is sufficient. But that begs the question, what is sound technique? And I would like to go into that right now, because Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, but not in the fun, tingly way. For instance, most people are taught by teachers who are usually good-hearted, who really mean well, but they're taught they should actively concentrate and actively analyze. And that is meditation and contemplation. That is contemplation and mindfulness. But here's the problem. In terms of neuroscience, the only way to actively concentrate and actively contemplate is to use specific structures, such as the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Now, the prefrontal cortex is really Jim Dandy. If you want to organize or sort, if you want to calculate, if you want to edit, that's great. However, if you ask a personal trainer, they'll tell you any muscle, no matter how robust, can be overtrained. When we overuse our prefrontal cortex, fMRI studies, functional magnetic resonance imaging studies, demonstrate that it causes our amygdala to light up. This is the seat of both aggression and anxiety. How ironic, how darkly ironic is it that someone who is keen to practice the contemplative arts would exacerbate their anxiety and aggression? But wait, there's more. If you're half as stupid as me and you just get gung-ho and you would just ignore your body's way of saying, dude, this is getting me tired. This is getting me cranky. I'm beginning to gnaw on the corner of the couch. If you're like me and you've made mistakes and have ignored your body's signals in the past, then prolonged abuse of our own prefrontal cortex can cause our body to present with symptoms of depression. But I've got some good news. On the seventh fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path is mindfulness. And every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access our sympathetic nervous system located in the middle third of our spinal cord, of all places. And this bad boy has evolved to support perception, but a special flavor of perception. Perception that is vulnerable, passive, visceral, and random. So we don't concentrate. We're just going along for the ride. It's like the theater. You and I are not the producer, we're not the director, we're not the playwright, we're not the thespian. We're the guy in the audience, sucking on a lozenge, a little too loudly, watching the antics on stage. That's it. But what do we wind up observing? Passively, vulnerably, viscerally, we could observe sights, sounds, sensations, flavors, scents, and the like, as well as emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. We're not digital robots, we're analog creatures, and as such we perceive entire spectrums of phenomena, from the outer to the inner, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. And yes, that can get overwhelming. However, allow me to introduce the concept of meditation, the eighth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access our parasympathetic nervous system, which is found in both the bottom third and the top third of that same spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to support both our physical relaxation as well as our mental release. Now, how do we do that? How do we make that happen? Because let's face it, so far it hasn't happened automatically because we're twitchy bastards. We're about ready to make the jump to hyperspace, to warp space, without a vessel. So if this is already locked into our autonomic nervous system, why aren't we blissed out? One word answer. Here it is. Urkel. The components of our central nervous system knock about like a bunch of drunk clowns. Like a bunch of drunk farm animals on New Year's Eve. But here's the good news. Just like Urkel, our central nervous system is clever and good-hearted. So here's what happens. When we instruct our brain to silently, mentally, and passively recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, automatically our brain starts cooperating with our sympathetic nervous system. Every time we instruct our brain to silently, mentally, and passively recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, this same brain cooperates with our parasympathetic nervous system. And that's when the magic happens. Remember I told you the bad news about our amygdala lighting up and making us both Chicken Little and the Incredible Hulk? Well, check this out. Practicing in harmony with our sympathetic nervous system and our parasympathetic nervous system not only mellows out our amygdala, but it lights up this bad boy right here. This thing that kind of looks like a baseball mitt. This thing that the big kids describe as the anterior cingulate gyrus. This thing that functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy and compassion and love. 50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness. That's, in other words, the second, third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Buddha's path pertain to kindness of intention, kindness of communication, kindness of behavior, and kindness of commerce. The highest Dzogchen Lamas of Tibet have insisted that the greatest love is spontaneous and uncontrived. We don't have to pretend we're omniscient. We don't need a rule book. Simply by training effectively in mindfulness and meditation, the love that generates kind intention, kind communication, kind behavior or nonviolent behavior, and kind commerce flows with the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. That's fabulous. The pseudo-intellectuals cartwheel across the stage of the theater of our experience, telling us we need to get a PhD. But remember, in the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha said he could master his path in a week. You can't get a PhD in a week. Did you know that simply by practicing mindfulness, by simply noticing things, vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly, we can't escape the observation of change. We see changes, we hear changes, we feel changes, we smell changes, we taste changes, and the like. We feel changes in our emotions, our intentions, our thoughts flip rapidly from one subject to the other. That's not a bad thing. That's change. That's impermanence. Our memories automatically flip from something 10 years ago to something 10 minutes ago to something in first grade to something a minute ago. In our imagination, it just acts like it has a rocket jetpack. And so we effortlessly experience impermanence, the mastery of which is simply the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And enlightenment is nothing more than the mastery of this Eightfold Path. And mastery is simple. You're probably smarter than me, but as a kid, I was challenged by the prospect of tying my own shoes. Days and days would go by with tears and repeated instructions from a beat-faced mom who was over me. But eventually, by the time I was on the cusp of first grade, at last I could tie my shoes with such expertise that I could do so spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively without even warming up. Eventually I learned to ride my bike the same way. Eventually I learned to floss my teeth the same way. Similarly, we can get so good at the Buddha's Eightfold Path that we practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. And we can do this in a week. I'm looking for the right page, looking for the magic page. Let's see here. Donde está magic page? Where did I put that bad boy? Maybe it's to the left. I think it's to the left. There we go. So what I'd like to do is practice with you for a bit. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, and mastering, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. So, what I'd like to do is, for an interesting change of pace, push the right button. You know, just to make things interesting. So, let's do a short chant to set intention. So let's set intention by chanting Love and Letting Go's wishes for universal enlightenment and well-being. Well, that's weird. Okay. May all minds of all beings lucid yet void now be as peacefully enlightened as a Buddha's mind symbolized by a one-syllable bija. May all speech of all beings resounding yet void no be as joyfully loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual yet void no be as beautifully healthy as a yadam octave depicted in Buddhist statuary. May all lots of all beings appearing yet void no be as safely fortunate as a pure land of law represented in Buddhist paintings. Now, for my fellow neurodivergents, it can be necessary to throw in a splash of dopamine if we're going to sit in meditation. And I found an easy way to do that. Is to knock out a few squat thrusts. So you're welcome to join me if you wish for just, a few squat thrusts. Do. Okay, here we go. Gotta be over here. Okay. And now let us meditate. So I spy with my little eye a question. So I'm going to tap, what is it, button 5? No, it's button 8. Okay. Hey, James, it is great to hear from you. So, if you're in a place where you can do some brisk walking meditation, that's great. James, if you're not in a place where you can do brisk walking meditation, I recommend either squat thrusts or Buddha bowing. I'm going to start some Buddha bowing momentarily. You're welcome to join in with me if you felt comfortable with that. If not, if you're scared about what people will think about you, and that's understandable because you're in the environment you're in right now, very few people will find fault with squat thrusts. But don't worry, some people specialize in finding fault no matter what you do. So let's do that right now. I'm going to tap button 9. That's the wrong one. I'm going to tap button 5. Okay. All right. Welcome to Please Chant With Me. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of ever. Hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the 3 mental poisons. In our pragmatism may our liberation of all others be fueled by our reliance on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students, described by the metaphor of the 3 wish-fulfilling jewels. And so now, let's knock out some Buddha bowing if you are so inclined. For those who are as neurodivergent as myself, this can give us an extra splash of dopamine. May we free all through the 3 jewels. 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 Well, that'll wake you up first thing in the morning. Please chant with me. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of ever. Hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. One moment. Let's put the accent there. And let's move the accent over here. And take it from the top. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. In our pragmatism may all liberation of all others be fueled by our reliance on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students, described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. So I think would be nice if we made impermanence a little bit more obvious with our verbiage. So the word free here implies impermanence. And of course, dependence here strongly infers interdependence. And now, how's about a splash of the old dopamine, eh, kids? Okay. May we free all through the three jewels. 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 May we free all through the three Now let us rest in awareness and release. Please chant with me. In our compassion may we long to free all beings from the toxic tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging, metaphorically known as the three mental poisons. In our pragmatism may all liberation of all others be fueled by our dependence on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students, described by the metaphor of the three wish-fulfilling jewels. If you wish, you may enjoy a splash of dopamine by knocking out a few Tibetan-style squat thrusts. May we free all through these three jewels. 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 Oi. Let us rest in awareness and release. Let us seal this evening's practice by chanting love and letting go's wishes for universal enlightenment and well-being. May all minds of all beings lucid yet void now be as peacefully enlightened as a Buddha's minds immortalized by a one-zero vision. May all speech of all beings resounding yet void now be as joyfully loving as a Buddha's speech symbolized by mantra. May all forms of all beings sensual yet void no be as beautifully healthy as a Yadam octave depicted in Buddhist statuary. May all lots of all beings appearing yet void no be as safely fortunate as a pure land of lore represented in Buddhist paintings. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 and 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return for tomorrow's early meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.